Hi, good evening all. Hi Akshaya, hi Varun.
Hey, good
Hi,
evening.
Bharat.
Okay, so as the top event topic suggests, today we're going to talk about Paytm Money's latest offering, Pops Messenger, and how it brings sophisticated investor insights to retail users in partnership with one of UK's leading investment research providers, Investor AI. We will also talk about the broader market insights and what really is the significance of this partnership for the retail Indian investor. I'm honored to have Akshaya Bhargava and Varun Sridhar as panelists here today. I'll give you a quick introduction for both before we jump into our conversation. So Akshaya Bhargava is the founder and chairman of Bridgeweave, a UK-based fintech firm that uses AI models to provide institutional quality research signals and investment ideas to investors. Bridgeweave's flagship product is Investor AI, available on mobile for end investors in equity markets. Till 2017, Akshay was the global CEO of Wealth and Investment Management at Barclays, and prior to which he was the founder of InfraHedge, a hedge fund managed account platform, which was acquired by State Street Corporation in 2013. He started his career with Citibank, where he spent 22 years in a range of senior roles. Varun Sridhar, on the other hand, I think most of you guys know Varun, is the whole-time director and CEO of Paytm Money. He is responsible for driving strategy and leading the wealth management business for Paytm and has over 2 decades of professional experience, primarily in capital markets, retail banking, and consumer finance. Varun holds 2 decades of valuable experience in leading the digital transformation journey of some of the top retail banks in India and abroad, and is passionate about setting up and scaling businesses from ideation stage. Big welcome to you guys, and we are honored to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we jump into the specifics of the partnership, Akshay and Varun, let's talk a bit about the investment ecosystem today. What are your thoughts on what's happening in the global markets right now? More specifically, what is happening in the investment behavior that you've seen over the last 2 years? Akshay or Varun, anyone wants to go
Go
first?
ahead, Akshay, please.
Thank you, Manish. It's a great question. And I think from my perspective, what I'm seeing in the last 2 or 3 years is something incredible. What has happened in the pandemic, millions of investors, 10 million in America, 4 million in UK, 4 million in Europe, 20 million in India, went to the markets directly. And many of them are first-time investors. Now, the amazing thing for me, coming from the wealth management background as I do, that these investors did not go to HDFC Wealth Management, IIFL Wealth Management. They went directly to the brokerage. So they want to enter the market directly. I think that is a mega behavior trend that will transform the wealth business forever. What these people are saying is that we want to enter the markets directly. We want to do our own research. We want it on a mobile. We want a digital completion of our journey. And we don't necessarily want to pay for advice. I think that's a mega trend in the world. And India is, of course, at the leading edge of this because India is still adding about 1 million new accounts a month. And I think this is an absolute watershed moment for the industry globally.
Varun, what are your thoughts on the same?
Yeah, if I may add, and first of all, namaste everyone. अच्छा लग रहा है आप लोगों के साथ रह के. I'm very happy. Good evening to all Paytm Money users. Good to see you again. And welcome Akshaya. आप लोगों को नहीं पता, Akshaya is logging in from London, and he runs a very nice firm. It's called Investor AI, and I met him first time. He used to be the CEO of Barclays Wealth Management, Private Banking, a very senior person. Very happy to host him as part of the Paytm Wealth community. But good evening everyone. थोड़ा हिंदी में बात करेंगे, थोड़ा इंग्लिश में बात करेंगे. We'll try and mix between both of us. But I think Manish, पिछले 1-1.5 साल में, 2 साल में, इंडियन इन्वेस्टर कंप्लीटली चेंज हो गया. लोग कहते हैं कि इंडियन यंग इन्वेस्टर रिस्की है, इंडियन यंग इन्वेस्टर पहली बार आ रहा है. But I think the Indian young investor has shown something that is miraculous and that is very magical. But the Indian young investor, thanks to internet, thanks to knowledge, thanks to our schooling system, thanks to who we are, has proven to be very mature very fast. Why do I say that? Because most of Paytm Money users, for example, they start their journey buying one stock, then they will buy one ETF. For an Indian retail 24-year-old to buy an ETF, I think is very strange because most of them, the older investors don't have ETFs in India. But the young investor starts to say, मुझे ना risk management करना है, asset allocation करना है, diversification करना है. These are things जो normally you don't find, right? Like I'm 40, right? And you know, at my time, to buy a stock, or somebody would tell you do an SIP and get going, right? And that's it. Or I would buy one stock and keep it for 10 years. Now, the young investor, which I really like, says, I have my investment long-term portfolio, I have my mid-term portfolio, I have my trading portfolio, I have my bank nifty options, I have my mutual fund SIP, I have my ETF. I'm fascinated in the last 2 years leading Paytm Money because every time I talk to my user, they are 3 years ahead of where we are and they show us what to do. So, you know, last 2 years, I think fantastic. And आज हम जो बात कर रहे हैं, we are talking about, you know, a great partnership with Investor AI. I think that's a birth, Manish, of that young new India. Right. The India I think we believe in a lot. I think that young India has told us, do this partnership. It's almost like that for me, right? And I think that's what is special. But yeah, last 2 years, fantastic moment. But I don't think that's great. I think what's great is the next 3 years or 4 years. That's where the real future is, right? And it's fantastic. It's going to be magical.
Wow, no, I think very well put, Varun. और जैसे आपने कहा कि इन्वेस्टर्स काफी एक्टिव इन्वेस्टर्स हो गए हैं इन द लास्ट 2 years. सो आई एम अज्यूमिंग जब इन्वेस्टर्स काफी एक्टिव होते हैं, जब वो नए प्रोडक्ट्स एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, तो उनको चैलेंजेस भी काफी आती होंगी, राइट? I'm assuming, do we have, so let me put it this way, सबसे बड़े चैलेंजेस इन्वेस्टर्स को क्या दिखते हैं अभी, और हम लोग वो कैसे सॉल्व कर रहे हैं? Like अक्षय leads this crazy analytics firm, research provide karte hain. Varun, we run Paytm Money. So how are we solving the challenges that customers face?
Akshay, please go ahead.
So if I can start, see, नया investor जो आता है, दो तीन चीजें चाहिए उनको. One is कि मेरे को मैं क्या खरीदूं, और खरीद के बाद मैं कब बेचूं. And secondly, कि कैसे खरीदूं, कैसे. Now, all these online brokerages, digital platforms, they have made buying process very easy. So, जो भी खरीदना is very easy. Mobile पे करा, 2-3 tab and you're done. But what should you buy? क्या खरीदूं? That information is very difficult. And what is needed is, मेरे experience में जो चलता है, it needs to be very simple. The more complicated you make it, the more friction you put in the process, the less people want to do. So how do you make it simple? Firstly, information जो दे रहे हैं, वो इस तरह से देनी चाहिए that is easy to understand. Secondly, जब समझ गए easily, the risks and all must be well understood, so there is need for a little bit of education. And thirdly, जब ठीक है हमने देख लिया ये स्टॉक हमको खरीदना है और डिसाइड किया हमने 10,000 रुपए डालने हैं, तो buying has to be one click.
Correct.
And that is why I am so delighted with this partnership between Investor AI and Paytm Money, is because we have stitched the whole thing together. एक ही जर्नी में आपको इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगी. इंफॉर्मेशन अच्छी लगे तो थोड़ा उसको पढ़ लीजिए और डिटेल पढ़ लीजिए, और डिटेल पढ़ने के बाद खरीदना है तो बस एक क्लिक करिए तो खरीद लेंगे. और खरीदने के बाद उसको आपको बताता रहेगा कि सिग्नल कैसा चल रहा है, क्या हो रहा है. सो इट हैज बिकम वेरी सिंपल फॉर द इन्वेस्टर, एंड आई थिंक दैट इज द पावर.
Perfect. No, Akshay, thank you.
Absolutely, Manish. And if I can add, I think, and maybe this is a good for the audience listening, what have we done, right? Because they'll be wondering, what have you done? So actually, we've partnered as Paytm Money together with a company called Investor AI. They're London-based. Akshay is the founder. And what we've done is we've got this product, which in my mind, Manish, and everybody listening, solves one very simple problem, which is मैं क्या करूँ, right? People go on the app and they don't know what to buy. Now, what happened in the last 18 months is a lot of people got 50-60% returns because the stock market was running higher and higher. So everybody felt I'm a good investor. Last 3 months, all of that is gone because all of a sudden people start to see, in our case, a lot of red portfolios, right? And all of a sudden it has become difficult to make those returns. Now, what is the difference? But they still see बहुत सारे लोग देखते हैं प्रोफेशनल इन्वेस्टर को कि अभी भी ही इज एबल टू मेक, ही स्टिल मेकिंग 25-30%, 15% return on his portfolio, whereas a lot of investors who thought that they have mastered the market are not able to. So then they are now in a very strange situation because knowledge, especially in India, in financial system is missing. Like they don't teach us. मुझे मेरे स्कूल कॉलेज में नहीं पढ़ाया कि स्टॉक ट्रेडिंग कैसे करते हैं, how to pick a stock, how to do fundamental analysis, how to do technical analysis, how to study charts. Nobody, we don't learn it. 99% of India does not have a place to learn that. But is it necessary for everybody to learn? No, right? And that's what we tried to solve. I think what we tried to do together with Investor AI is to solve the problem of choice. Is to say, what do you do if you have capital and you want to buy and you don't want to study, right? Like you don't want to be a stock market expert. बड़ा अच्छा होता ना अगर आपके पापा, friend, brother, somebody tells you अच्छा आप ये stock खरीद लो, right? And this is the reason why you should buy. Now problem is that's called a tip, and tips are not good, right? Tips are the worst thing because tips are not done on good research, tips don't have data, etc., etc. आप लोगों को सबको पता है कि टिप किसी से नहीं लेना चाहिए, right? So then we wanted to find a partner, and so we went to Investor AI, and Investor AI bases their artificial intelligence algorithms, with a lot of stuff that they do to make it simple, made it really, really easy, right? And I think that's the partnership. So when you open Investor AI, in one click, every day in the morning, you get to see, aaj ye kharido, today do nothing. Sometimes it's good to do nothing, or you sell this. It is as simple as that, right? But when Akshay said we have made it simple, what we made even simpler is if you like it, you hit a button and it's done, finished. Now, सब लोगों को लगता है यार ये तो कॉम्प्लेक्स ही नहीं है, इतना सब आपने बोला कि आप have to study charts, fundamental analysis. Don't worry, some computer somewhere is doing the job for you. Somebody is working very hard on the back to make your life simple, right? And I think that's the Manish, and I think that's the problem in today's market. People have made returns in the past, now they don't know how to make it,
Sure.
and they don't have the knowledge. So to solve that, I think Investor AI and Paytm Money together have done this.
Yeah. No, just to add again to that, देखो भाई, bull market में सब hero होते हैं. Everybody can make money. It is when market ऊपर नीचे जाते हैं, volatile हो जाते हैं, then it becomes very difficult. So ये professional money managers क्या करते हैं? All these hedge funds वगैरह बैठ के, they have army of analysts. All these analysts are doing charting patterns, technical calculations, they're complicated spreadsheets, और वो सब उसके basis पे recommendation बनाते हैं और hedge fund manager trade करते हैं. We have taken in Investor AI all that analyst work and automated it using artificial intelligence. So machine is giving you recommendation. Machine is giving you recommendation depending on whether market is going up, market is going down, market is volatile. That kind of capability जो सिर्फ professional investors के पास होती थी पहले, वो आपके पास Paytm Money में है.
So, no, Akshaya, thank you very well. I think that would clarify, this for a lot of people. So, Akshay, आप लोग, what is the technology that you use और ये कितना successful है? मतलब I understand जैसे आप बता रहे हैं कि आप complicated जो institutions के पास available थी अभी तक, वो आप लाके customers को दे रहे हो, right? But how do you actually make it possible? मतलब इसमें I am assuming वो काफी expensive होता होगा, success rate कैसा है? I think these are key data points that we should talk about.
So let me describe it to you. So first of all, expensive to sab hota hai. Unfortunately, life is expensive. But so what we do is we firstly get a lot of data. We get 900 items of information for every stock, every day. And we cover 4,600 stocks in the world, not just India. Okay? Then we perform certain computations. So 800 million calculations karte hain roz ke. रोज सुबह 9:30 के पहले we in India time we finish all that. Then we all these technical things that we create, तो उसके 300 features बनते हैं. And features are could be technical patterns, could be fundamental things, and then the machine learning model जो हमने बनाया है, वो compute करता है कि आज 300 में से कौन से feature आज के environment के लिए best है. Okay, and that is how. So after that, we do something very interesting. This is very new. We convert it to an image.
Okay.
Okay. And then we use that image to recognize patterns. So just a facial recognition hota hai na. So, it will learn to recognize Chinese face. It will learn to recognize Indian face, learn to recognize American face, white face. And jitne Chinese faces dekhega, it will get better at recognize Chinese faces. Jitne Indian faces dekhega. So the machine actually gets better. The more patterns it sees, the better it gets. So जो signal, जो ideas आपके पास Paytm Money app में मिलेंगे, those are very high confidence signals. Now, nothing is 100% right. So of course, can it go wrong? It can go wrong. You have to remember that. We are not guaranteeing anything, but they are right much more often than they are not. And that is a power or intelligence जो आपके हाथ में है.
Understood.
Manish, can I just add in that question? So I'll try and give a user perspective to it. So most of my users, when they would have heard that, they would have said, okay, 800 million calculations. Akshay, did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, 800 million calculations. एक बार आप सब लोग सोचो, how much time will it take for me, for you, to do all that maths to arrive at a simple answer? What stock should I buy today? Okay, that's the question, right? आप लोग सुबह 9:15, everybody gets on, you start the app and you say, what stock should I buy today? Or if I already have bought a stock, should I sell it? These are the two things we all ask ourselves when you invest or you trade. That answer is mathematically found with all these millions of calculations. And at the end of all of those calculations, what happens for you is very simple. So I'll now take the user perspective. You log into Paytm Money. In Paytm Money, there's a very new platform called Pops. Pops is like a chat. Okay, so don't think about it more. It's your chat messenger. It's a chat box. It's a chat room, as you want to call it, right? So you go there inside the stock section and you see this. There's a button for Investor AI. You open it, and there every day in the morning you get a card, right? That card tells you buy, sell, and hold. Done. You hit the button, and you end up buying the stock. It's as simple as that. You decide आपको कितना amount डालना है. A lot of people, like the first time I met a professional advisor. I'll tell you my small story. तो मेरे साथ क्या हुआ, एक बार किसी ने मुझे टिप दिया. Okay, one of my friends gave me a tip. उस टिप पे मैंने 50,000 रुपए लगा दिया. 50,000 25,000 हो गया. Okay, that's the truth. Okay, when Varun can make mistakes, everybody makes mistakes in the stock market. And if you haven't made mistakes, you will not learn. Right? So I got a tip and I made a mistake because he was my best friend. And he told me, Varun, I have understood, I have done all this, I know the markets. And when your best friend tells you over beer, this is the best stock to buy tomorrow morning, you go and buy it tomorrow morning, right? And so I bought it. And then I lost 25,000 rupees and I was not rich at all. 25,000. I went to him next day and said, dude, what happened? He said, hi, yaar, मुझे भी किसी और ने बोला था. I said, yeah, you should have told me. Like, right, if somebody else told you. So, I think I learned with my mistakes. Then the first time I went to an advisor, okay, a professional advisor, somebody like Akshay. Akshay is now super professional because they have automated advice. Investor AI has basically removed the human emotion from it. If I may say that, Akshay, right? There is no human emotion in your models. So what Investor AI has done is become an advisor. But my first advisor was a human being. Okay, it was somebody like Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma बोलते हैं कि आप ये policy ले लो, ये कर लो. So I had my Mr. Sharma. My Mr. Sharma came to me and he was very professional. He was a certified analyst. He was educated. He explained everything beautifully, told me this is your risk, this is your reason why, etc., etc. Made an analysis, made a one-page paper. After 2 hours of his speaking, I invested only 2,000 rupees. Okay, so that's the truth. Okay, the guy was like, Varun, 2,000 rupees. And I said, 2,000 rupees. And once I succeeded in my 2,000 rupees, you know what? That investment, 2,000 went to something very nice. I was very happy. I met my target. And this person told me a target. The best part is he did not tell me aapka paisa double hoega. He said, Varun, you will make only some 14-15%. Okay, which was very good for me. And I was very happy. Surprisingly, it worked. And slowly, I increased my amount. Now, why did I tell you my personal story? First, everybody is allowed to fail. Second, don't take tips. Third, if you are getting professional advice in a simple way, take it, right? Because professional advice, you can't replicate. Like आप doctor के पास जाते हो, when you're sick, sometimes you Google and you say, okay, I've got COVID, I Google, and everybody takes Dolo these days, right? For fever and for everything else. But if you're really sick, you go to a professional doctor, right? And if you are afraid, you go to somebody professional. If you want to go painting, if you want to eat good food, you go to a chef. If you want to train physically, you go to a trainer. So I think what we're trying to say is investor AI is that professional, mathematical, analytical, emotion-less advisory model. And they have managed to convert beautifully that into a very simple product. वो product हम लोग साथ लेके आए हैं, right? And I think Manish, that's what I wanted to add. But I thought, exposing my story to all the audience maybe will be more helpful.
Can I just react
Please.
a little bit? That's very good, Varun. That is actually a fabulous story, and there are many lessons in there. So, एक बड़ी चीज मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि investor AI is very good. Okay, I mean, I'm like a proud father, of course. Of course, it is very good, and I think what you will see on Paytm Money app is fantastic, but it is not a substitute for your own judgment. You thinking outsource nahi karna, please. You cannot outsource your judgment to a machine. Your judgment is your judgment. So machine आपको signal दिखा रही है, बहुत अच्छे signal हैं, most of them will work, but अगर अब कंपनी आपको आप समझते नहीं कंपनी क्या करती है, उसके prospects क्या हैं, industry क्या है, sector क्या है, तो मत करो कुछ यार. Be careful, okay? Investment return, and I don't know what is the age profile of audience here, but if you are 25, 30, 40 years old, you have 40 years ahead of you to invest. The compounding of returns is even more important than returns themselves. कोई बात नहीं, आप 6-7% बनाइए, 10% बनाइए. But if you keep consistently doing it, you will build up a massive capital. Okay, so think long term. Don't get into things you don't understand. Never mind what the machine says. Once you have your own view, machine can be very helpful. But अगर कुछ नहीं मालूम है, तो be careful.
So Akshay, we are getting a question from some users. I think specifically Prakhar is asking, what is the accuracy of our system? So do we have a number saying that, hey, this is accurate to 60%, 70%? Do we have a number?
So Prakhar, we calculate accuracy algorithm by algorithm. Okay, so we have many algorithms. The accuracy typically ranges between 60% to 73, 74%. And we calculate it every day based on last 30 days, last 90 days, etc. So it's a moving kind of a number. And so that is one. Secondly, जब हम शुरू करते हैं, so let us say we make a 90-day prediction. So 90 days में, the signal is very strong in the beginning, and it begins to what is technically called decay. Okay, so we do nothing, it will start to decay a little bit. That is why we have to constantly keep tuning the algorithm. And that is हमारी एक टीम है, वो सिर्फ ट्यूनिंग करती है, वो सिर्फ देखते हैं. हर मंडे मेरे पास एक रिपोर्ट आता है, सब कंपनी में इंटरनली सर्कुलेट करते हैं, व्हाट इज द एक्यूरेसी अल्गो बाय अल्गो, मार्केट बाय मार्केट, एंड जहां इंटरवेंशन की जरूरत होती है वी इमीडिएटली डू इट. सो अभी हम 2-2.5 साल से कर रहे हैं, तो वी आर क्वाइट प्रैक्टिस्ड एंड वी नो हाउ इट वर्क्स एंड ऑल दैट. बट इट इज लाइक अ, think of the algo like a very intelligent child. When the child is born, it actually knows nothing. You have to teach it. Sometimes then you have to test it. So कभी-कभी fail हो जाता है टेस्ट में, fail होता है तो फिर से सिखाना पड़ता है. And that is a continuous exercise, That is how you make the child smarter. And that is why what you will see in Paytm Money is a 2.5 साल का very smart child. अगर कोई फिर से शुरू करे, तो उसको 2.5 साल लगेंगे एटलीस्ट उस लेवल पर आने के लिए, even if you start with the same logic. So the learning process and the learning curve is very important in this.
So Manish, maybe just to add on what Akshay is saying, for the user's benefit again, the product that's available on Paytm Money Investor AI product, this product A. So Investor AI, by the way, has many products, right? We've launched the first product which is out there, which is 3% in 30 days. Am I right, Akshay? That's the one that is out there.
Absolutely. We have a big ambitious roadmap.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first one that's gone out is 3% in 30 days. So the computer, basically, अगर आप एक चीज 100 रुपए की खरीद रहे हो, then the computer is saying that in 30 days, there is a very high probability that this will hit 103, right? So now how do you make use of it as a user? You're like, Varun, very good. What should I do? The first thing what Akshay recommends to you is trust the signal a bit, but make your judgment. You decide, is that stock right for you? You decide, do your research. Don't just say blindly, let's press the button, right? Never do that. You decide, is that already in your portfolio? Is it too risky? You don't have exposure to that, etc., etc. Do your basic checks. Go read the stock a bit if you want to, right? But let's say then you press, in my opinion, and this is my personal advice to all of you, let's say you buy. I always, whenever I buy a stock myself, I typically use something called a GTT order, right? Which is essentially a good till triggered order. So आपको अगर 100 रुपए की चीज खरीदनी है, normally if you put 99.5, the order will get executed, right? Because the price moves of the stock, right? Obviously, there's a chance that you can lose. Price never falls, it goes up. Can happen. But personally, I have found 60-70% of times, like Akshay was saying, there is accuracy. Okay, there is accuracy in using a GTT order, or a market, not a market order, but an order at a certain price, right? So you pick up the stock. Then definitely put a GTT sell order, right, which is also available, which means if the price hits this, I exit. Okay, where retail investors goes wrong, Akshay gave the signal, you did your research well, you picked up the stock based on investor AI 800, stock hit 105, and you're saying, now that I've done the jackpot, let me wait for 110. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. That's called emotion management. Okay, and I want you to do the maths. Once I did this maths with somebody, I said 3% in 30 days. I said, Varun, ये तो कुछ भी नहीं है, बैंक में ज़्यादा interest मिलता है. I said, excuse me, it's 3% in 30 days. You have to multiply by 12 times, and that's a lot, right? A good retail average investor should be happy 15%, 12%, right? You have to beat inflation, plus you have to beat some basic benchmarks. But a lot of retail investors are not able to manage emotion. So that's why I say put a GTT sell order, which is essentially allowing you to sell, right? Or keep track and sell it yourself when it hits the target, or keep a price alert. But there is, the whole thing is automated now. Point I'm trying to make, मैं आपसे एक ही चीज कह रहा हूँ कि सब automate हो गया है. वो सारे tools आपके mobile phone पे हैं, but use करें, right? And I think that's the only thing, Manish and Akshay, I wanted to add to what you were saying.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
that's
super.
absolutely valid. You know what? I keep telling people that AI is very important, but you are equally important. And the real superpower is you plus AI. That is what makes you. Look
Sure.
at Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. क्या करता है? He puts on a suit and he flies. Now, suit cannot fly without man. Man cannot fly without suit. Both together can fly. That is how you should think of Paytm Money and Investor AI. That is the combination that requires your judgment, and then it allows you to fly.
Yeah. On a lighter note, be Iron Man or be Chota Bheem or be Shaktiman, but be wear your suit. Let AI you complement each other.
Sure, sure. No, absolutely. Point taken. Point taken. So I think we have another question from Viral. Viral is asking, how do you decide which company is best for the future? I think मैं थोड़ा और उसको simplify करता हूँ. I think विराल पूछ रहे हैं कि do you go after all industries या आप लोग कोई particular sector पे focus करते हैं? I think that would be one way to put this.
So we have a universe of companies. So, but there are some requirements that we have. That थोड़ा market cap कम से कम इतना होना चाहिए. There must be analyst coverage. There must be some other factors, because those are very important input to the algorithm. So we have a universe of companies in India, and then in that, and they cover all 22 sectors. And then every day we calculate this for every company in our universe. That is where the 800 million calculation comes from. So, this is like machine calculating everything every day, which is not possible in a human sense. And then, as Varun said, इसमें कोई bias नहीं है. So it does not prefer materials to chemicals to IT to automotive and all that. सबके एक ही तरह से काम करती है. And then it shows कि सबसे बड़ा ranking किसमें है, तो आप sector में घुस जाइए या उसमें जाइए. Then the other thing is कि every day you will get some new signals. maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 10, I don't know, that up to machine. But हर रोज कुछ आपको नया दिखेगा. So there is value in रोज चेक जाके चेक करना ऐप में कि आज क्या सिग्नल है, हमें ठीक लगा, नहीं लगा, समझ में आया, नहीं आया, और कुछ भी नहीं किया तो that is also okay. At least you have been informed, you know. So this is like reading the newspaper. You must look at Paytm Money every day.
Sure. Okay, perfect. So I think Akshay and Varun, a couple of people are asking, Vishnu Vardhan पूछ रहे हैं कि does this give recommendation on only my portfolio or will it give me recommendations even on stocks that I don't hold, right? Bharat question पूछ रहे हैं कि is this a paid service? I think would it make sense to show them exactly what it is? Can I run a couple of slides जहाँ पे मेरे पास थोड़े screenshots हैं? Should we do that?
Yeah,
I think it will help us answer a lot of questions better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you should go ahead and show the product to the users so they also understand what exactly is it. And then at the end, maybe I want to answer the question on paid service and my portfolio versus advice. Yeah, but go ahead, please.
Super. तो मैं एक काम करता हूँ. I'll just run everybody through the overall construct of the product, and then we will focus on the investor AI piece. Guys, is my screen completely visible? Varun, Akshay, you can see the first pop screen here.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So जो भी दर्शक हैं, बेसिकली आप जब भी पेटीएम मनी में जाओगे, आप जब भी ट्रेडिंग करते हो, आपको टॉप राइट में एक आइकन दिखेगा. This is basically where you will find pops. Once you click on this channel opens up for you. So आप देख रहे हो very quirky, fresh looking channel. ये basically एक WhatsApp की स्क्रीन की तरह है आपके लिए. There are 4 categories of channels here, and I will talk about them, each of them in detail. ठीक है? The first channel is called the My Portfolio channel. Second is called the Market. Then any stock जिसमें आपने इन्वेस्ट किया है, उसका एक इंडिविजुअल चैनल बनेगा. And then we have services like Investor AI, जो आपको advanced analytics provide करती हैं, right? So first, let me talk about the markets channel. Now, this is one channel जहां पे आपको जो भी हो रहा है markets में सब easily visible है, और हमने कोशिश किया है कि this is simplified so that you don't really have to struggle understanding the concepts. अक्सर आप देखते होंगे कि stock market की news they tend to get very complicated, right? You don't really understand what some of the news items are talking about. So what we've done is we've made sure that we read everything in the markets, make it simple, make it fun, make it understandable for the layman user, और हम आपको ये यहाँ पर डिलीवर करते हैं. जैसे आपको यहाँ पर एक लेफ्ट में दिख रहा है, ये एक अपडेट है जो हर दिन आपको शाम को आएगा, and it will summarize what happened in the markets in a very simple manner, right? और साथ में we also try to capture the mood of the market, right? और आप notice करोगे throughout the app, it is very light, it's supposed to be fun for the young users. ठीक है? Similarly, we will offer you insights, news items, and any key updates that happen in the market in one place, right? So this is your channel happening in the market. ठीक है? सेकेंड में बात करूंगा पोर्टफोलियो चैनल की. नाउ बेसिकली ये चैनल क्या करता है, ये आपको इनसाइट्स प्रोवाइड करता है आपके स्टॉक्स के बारे में. सो लेट्स से अगर आपने 10 स्टॉक में इन्वेस्ट कर रखा है, तो ये चैनल आपको हर स्टॉक के बारे में इट विल गिव यू अ ब्रॉड ओवरव्यू ऑफ व्हाट्स हैपनिंग विद योर पोर्टफोलियो. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, लेट्स से आपका 7 ऑफ योर स्टॉक्स आर इन एनर्जी स्पेस. So this channel can over time tell you you are probably over invested in one sector. You should probably look at de-risking yourself, right? And the idea is to again give you very simplified, very custom insights for you. Okay. The third piece is the stock channels. Basically, आप जो भी stocks में आपने invest कर रखा है, all of them will have individual channels. So let's say you've invested in 3 stocks: Yes Bank, HDFC, ICICI. तीनों stocks का individual channels होगा आपके पास, and we will give you all that is relevant with that stock. So for example, अगर आप Yes Bank में trade कर रहे हो, तो हम आपको obviously summary तो बताएंगे ही कि Yes Bank में आपने ये किया, आपका average price इतना है. But more importantly, over time we'll start telling you any key information that might impact Yes Bank का price, right? So let's say अगर Yes Bank का earnings आ रहा है, you will start seeing Yes Bank का earnings का report यहाँ पे, right? Any other news item that might impact Yes Bank, हम आपको यहाँ पर ये देंगे. अगर Yes Bank के स्टॉक में कुछ मेजर प्राइस चेंजेस हुए हैं, and because you are invested, it's relevant to you, we will also tell you कि hey, Yes Bank का प्राइस 5% ऊपर गया है या 5% नीचे गया है, do you want to take any action of that, right? So basically the idea is कि this this becomes a one stop shop for you to really understand आपके पोर्टफोलियो के साथ क्या हो रहा है, आपके स्टॉक्स के साथ क्या हो रहा है, और मार्केट्स में क्या हो रहा है, right? And now इसके ऊपर जो proof of the pudding है, that is basically हमारा Investor AI channel. This is the premium channel यहाँ पे आपको ये sophisticated advices मिलेंगी, right? So I'll come to the next slide here. So I will let so pricing के लिए Varun, Akshay, do you want to talk about this slide a bit?
Yeah, I can. Maybe I can.
Sure.
I can go ahead. So essentially, like Manish explained, you have different channels. So Investor AI is a paid service. So somebody was asking me how much is it? Is it free? I often tell my Indian consumer, how much money do you lose in stock market in a month? That's the only question I ask. And sincerely, मैं उनको बोलता हूँ, please मुझे मत बताओ, आप अपने मन में रखो. Keep the figure with you. Anything professional in life is not going to come for free. All right. And I think one must respect. I respect a good doctor. I respect a good cook. I respect a good teacher. I respect a good stock advisor, because these are the people that make your life. We work very hard to preserve our health. We work very hard to be happy with our family and our loved ones. And we work very hard at the end of the day because money becomes important, and working hard on your wealth. So Investor AI, Akshay and team, we have a lot of respect for them. They work very hard to make things simple for you. Like doing 800 million calculations a day is not free, right? And so when we partnered with them, we wanted to give a paid service to users who value advice. And so, but it's priced very, very cheap, right? So it's 150 rupees a month. You have a free trial period. Somebody wrote me, सिर्फ एक ही message आता है, एक नहीं आता है, हर दिन एक आता है, right? So every day there's an update of the stock. There are different stocks. Their job is not to give you a recommendation every day. They run a very complex formula, and their idea is to give you a few recommendations which actually work. Because अगर आपको सारे recommendations देनी है, then it's not a friend, right? Like, who's your best friend? Somebody who tells you आप ये एक काम कर लो, काम खत्म. Somebody who comes and tells you ये 1,000 options हैं, these are 10,000 analysis, do all this, or on Twitter or on YouTube, you go somewhere else. It is not credible. It is not SEBI compliant. It is not mathematically done. It does not have a professional team behind. There's a lot of hard work that goes behind. So our vision was to bring, और हमारा यही plan था कि together with Investor AI, we bring very advanced hedge fund, institutional HNI level analytics to a common retail person in India. And so we're charging, it's 150 rupees a month. It's not much, I think. And then you have different packages. You can choose them. The idea is, what I tell people is, think about the capital you have. Think about the losses you made. Do your maths. Does this make sense for you or not? A lot of people think they are strong stock pickers. Like, if somebody has a 5,000 rupee portfolio, मैं उनको बोलूंगा ये मत करो. ठीक है, because that's not right for that person. Right? But if you are, because I don't want you to do anything wrong for you, right? It's very simple. If you pay 150, I want you to make more than 150, right? Maths is very simple. अगर आप किसी को कुछ दे रहे हो, so you should be able to extract more value. Investor AI, in the one product that they have launched, promise you good research. They promise you good analysis. They don't promise you great returns, right? Returns nobody in the world can promise to anybody. What they promise you is that they will do the hard work of running the algorithms and giving you signals at the right time. From there, we also promise, together with Investor AI, that the journey to buy your stock will be easy. But it is important you use your judgment. It is important that you realize it's a paid service, right? That's why we very clearly say it's premium. It is not something free. Yeah. So that's the product. And like this, like you can see on your screen, maybe it's a bit small, but आप app पे जाएंगे तो साफ साफ दिखता है, right? And Manish, next time maybe थोड़ा screen बड़ा करेंगे. But essentially you see a stock, you see a target price to enter, you see a price to exit, right? And you can see like yellow, green buttons. Yellow is hold, red is target meet हो चुका है, you can exit, green is buy. There is an analysis, is a PDF document. So all of it is put together. So honestly, you can do it with a thumb click, right? So that's the idea. Every stock comes under coverage. There is a card. आप जैसे देख सकते हैं, Exide India का card आया हुआ है. There's a sample card. You see the full analysis and you see details. So then you can do a bit more. And the good part is the history is preserved for you. So you don't have to remember which tweet you saw when with somebody else. Here you see everything together in one place, beautifully organized, right? So yeah. So Akshay, maybe you want to add a few things.
Yeah, that was a wonderful explanation. But all I want to add to this is कि somebody is asking कि जो एक हफ्ते में एक ही recommendation आता है. That's not correct. रोज आते हैं. Now the point is that it is possible कि आज कोई recommendation नहीं आए, because we have to be true to the machine.
Right.
अगर machine बोले आज कुछ नहीं है तो नहीं है boss. That is how it is. But what you will see, but recommendation अगर आज आया भी है, you may decide based on your judgment कि हम आज नहीं खरीदेंगे, ये तो थोड़ा और नीचे जाएगा, and you can wait. And the signal stays open for a period of time, and you can track the signal, because what is ये जो 3% in 30 days जो वरुण ने बोला, तो मशीन क्या बोल रही है कि अगले महीने में you will make 3%. It is not saying you will make 3% on day 1, day 2, day 3 or something. It will happen anytime in between. So that is why it is very important to exercise your judgment, buy at the right time, and then place your order in a way that you get the 3% when it happens, but you don't, you're not shooting for 12%, 10% एक महीने में, वो तो शायद हो भी सकता है, but more likely नहीं होगा. Do listen to what the machine is telling you, filter it with your judgment, and उसके बाद आप action करिए.
Super. Akshay, we have a question from John. John is asking, is there any minimum investment amount?
No, I mean, you have to buy one stock because India mein fractional trading is not permitted. So one share, if you want to buy, you can. I think, see, remember, John, the trading account is your Paytm Money account. जो आप आज कर सकते हो वो इन्वेस्टर एआई के साथ कर सकते हो. इन्फोसिस का आधा शेयर नहीं खरीद सकते, तो वो इसके साथ भी नहीं खरीद सकते. If you want to buy 5 shares, you can. So there is no minimum amount, entirely up to you.
Absolutely. I'll maybe for John's sake also clarify that it's an advice. उसके बाद I would always, you could recommend, you could buy only one stock, you could buy 20, you could buy 30. The choice is yours. मैं हमेशा लोगों को I always recommend, I have my personal 30, 60, 90-day rule that the first 30 days you do minimum. Don't try, why machines are better than human beings? Because of greed, because of fear. Right? I think we let emotions, and when Akshay said beautifully, machine ने आज signal नहीं दिया, it's not like our old time TV box. Okay, शायद आप लोग young हैं, आप लोगों को TV box का concept नहीं होता है. मेरे ज़माने में आप जाके TV को थप्पड़ मारते थे, and the TV would start working. Right? Not today. So in today's time and world, that machine, if it doesn't give you a signal, it doesn't give. But if it does, and it does, and like we said, every day you get recommendation that you can do in your trial, you decide how much you want to invest. My rule, first 30 days minimum. Right? See it, enjoy it, get a feeling of it. Right? Don't immediately jump in and put, I don't know, if you have your 100 rupees, put 30% of your wealth in. Okay, don't do that. Experiment a bit, take your time. You have, like Akshay said, you're going to invest for the next 40 years. Akshay, answer to that question, half of Paytm Money customers are about 25, 26, right? And, so it's a fairly young set of people. And I always tell them, yaar, aapke 40 saal hai, 50 saal hai, enjoy yourself, start slow. First, even a plane doesn't take off at a fast pace, it runs. There's a small runway, it takes time. So take your time, there's no hurry. So, answer to John's question, there's no minimum amount. It is depending on the stock and one stock. Right. Yeah.
I just want to pick up on this, the 25-year-old. So that is very interesting. I may be slightly wrong in my numbers, but आप arithmetic अपने आप कर लीजिए. The last 20 years, the Indian stock market has returned on average 16%. Okay. Just take this market return, nothing more than that. And investor AI will actually, over time, help you get better than that. But let us say, 15% पकड़ लीजिए. If you put 1 lakh 20 years ago, and you compound it over 20 years, you'll be sitting on a few crores. And that is why the compounding of returns is as important, maybe even more important than the return itself. And if you're 25, 30 years old, you have 50 years ahead of you. I am so envious of a 30-year-old investor. 30 years old मैं तो गंवार था यार, कुछ पैसे भी नहीं थे, मालूम जो नॉलेज भी नहीं था, कुछ पता नहीं था, सब गलत डिसीजन किया. तो उसके साथ धीरे-धीरे सीख के यहाँ पे आए हैं. आप लोग 30 साल के हो, please take advantage of all the technology and the beautiful, pops and Paytm Money to take advantage of it, and do the best you can. You have huge, you have time on your side. That is the biggest thing.
Okay, I have two more questions coming in. First is, are these signals sent at a fixed time? और सेकंड मनीषा इज आस्किंग, हम इसमें दो टारगेट्स दिखाते हैं, टारगेट 1 एंड टारगेट 2. व्हाट इज द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ ईच? आई अंडरस्टैंड बोथ ऑफ दीस टारगेट्स शो 3% एंड 6% अपसाइड. सो इसमें क्या कमेंट है?
Akshay, should I just start to explain and then maybe you can jump in to clarify the product from your side? So I'm just going. आज का मैंने investor AI खोला while I saw this question from Manisha. A very good question, Manisha. You know, I like your question because you already went deep inside, right? And that's what I like about this question, because I think you're seeing the phone while I'm seeing my phone. So please have a look. Today there was a call on Manappuram, right? And the Manappuram, it said entry price 159.1. It said target price plus 3%, target price 2 plus 6%. Okay, so there are two targets. Whenever there's a higher target, my personal advice, ask yourself, is the risk appetite good for you? Uska matlab hai risk reward.
Yes.
Some people get happy at 3. 3 is fantastic, right? Like 3 is very, very good. Okay, 3 in 1 month, huh? By the way, it's not 100 years of 3%. Okay, so some people get happy at 3. If you meet it, great. Okay, so the call was made, and then there is a beautiful line, Manisha, which you should also read, which is caution price. Why is caution price important? Because a lot of people, retail users, don't put stop loss ever. Okay, a good retail investor will exit at loss, will exit at the target. Before you enter a trade, I always have one small trick. I decide when to sell. Okay, before I enter. Before I enter, I already know my price. अगर वो price meet हो जाता है, मैं निकल जाता हूँ. I don't wait. And the price, by the way, can be a loss and can be a profit, right? So the card that Investor AI sends on their channel has all this information per stock. Okay. Now, if I go to the Manappuram stock page, I click the buy button. Manappuram actually is at 158.35, and yeah, and had a, you know, not the best day today, minus 0.5%. So what I would do, I would wait maybe tomorrow morning to see, should I buy tomorrow? If it falls a bit more, wait first 15 minutes. But if the market starts to rise, you had a call at 159 and a target at 163. So I'm just going a bit detailed into how should you interpret as a user, और फिर आप इसको कैसे डिसाइड कर सकते हो आपको करना है नहीं करना है. आपका बिलीफ ये हो सकता है कि नहीं कल 3 दिन बाद और भी गिरेगा, because there's some very strong NBFC news. Then maybe you can put a GTT order saying if it falls to, I don't know, 150, pick it up. But that's what you're trying to do, right? So that's how I would think about the recommendations coming to me.
See,
Akshay,
that is a beautiful way to take the notion of your judgment. What Varun has just described, you know, your view is very important. I think Manisha's question. Manisha, your view is so important in this. You could take a view that Manappuram is, I think it's a good company, but I think it's going to fall further. मैं 2 दिन और wait करूँगी. You could take the view, no, Manappuram is fabulous stock, मैं तो long term hold करने वाली हूँ, तो other person गिर गया, buying opportunity ले लो. Okay, because मेरा तो long term hold objective है. So आपका objective, आपका thinking, आपका judgment इसमें बहुत important है. That is one thing. The second thing I will say is that please don't fall in love with any particular stock, because then, you know, when you fall in love, thoda logical mind goes to the back seat. You have to have a stop loss, at which point you exit. You have to have a profit target, at which point you exit. The discipline is more important than the emotion. So, you know, please don't say that Manappuram stock, wonderful stock, love company, never mind goes up and down, I'm going to keep holding it. That is never a good idea.
Absolutely. Perfect. So Akshay, Manisha is also asking a follow-up question. Is there a stop loss? And I presume the answer to that is yes. With every recommendation, हम stop loss भी provide करते हैं. Is that right?
हाँ, we will provide this thing, but the stop loss, to execute the stop loss, वो आपके ऊपर है ना?
हाँ जी,
the
correct.
will just tell you at what point the signal changes. But stop loss is actually a action, rather than a concept. You know, so you know, when you put the trade through, like Varun said, आप GTT को याद रखिए, very important.
तो बेसिकली अपने हमारे रिकमेंडेशन में जो हम कॉशन प्राइस देते हैं, वो इज बेसिकली द स्टॉप लॉस दैट आप रेकमेंड कर रहे हो कि इस प्राइस को आप you should probably have it as a stop loss.
Probably, yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe Manish, I'll answer it a bit differently psychologically.
हाँ जी.
I always decide what's my risk return ratio. बहुत जरूरी है.
ठीक
Okay,
है.
सबका एक risk return ratio होता है. Like Akshay said, Investor AI will give you price indication. Judgment आपका हो सकता है because I'm by the way 6 foot tall. Manish is a bit shorter than me. Okay, Akshay is I think my height. Now let's say we go swimming. Okay, I'm very comfortable in 6 feet water, but Manish will drown. Okay, now is that right? For me, my risk appetite is okay. 5 feet water, 5.5 feet water is fantastic for me. But for somebody else, it's really underwater. So you have to decide what's your stop loss. Like I tell people, Manish is asking super questions, and I like the questions because deciding your stop loss, the system, and it's a system again. It's not a human, right? It's a system which is giving you a signal. It is telling you, at this price, maybe there is no supply anymore. So, your price will further go down from here and sharper. So it is telling you something. But you decide if you have put 3% on one side as your target, what is your exit? Dono side आप target डाल के चलो. My only request to you, whatever that is, some people put 3 and 20. That is wrong, right? That's not risk appetite. Don't do 3 and 20 because then that's wrong. You're saying in 1 month price can collapse 20 and I won't sell. Then that's not deciding stop loss. But we do other courses on how to decide your stop loss. You should attend that. But yeah, whenever you get into a trade, please अपना stop loss डालिएगा.
बिल्कुल. अच्छा, one more question coming in from Kishore. हम लोग customers को कोई information provide करते हैं as to how we came to this decision. मतलब हम कोई research reports या कुछ share करते हैं customers के साथ on these recommendations?
Actually, you want to?
So with every recommendation, you will see a report. You can click on so it shows you a little PDF screen as to how the recommendation arrived at and some more details. So that is there with every card.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Maybe Manish, I can, and I know we are maybe almost coming to an end also from a time, right? But I just thought, Manisha, what we tell you, or I forgot the person who asked the question, but what we tell you or what Investor AI tells you is some basis, but they don't give you the full recipe of the 800 million calculations they do every day, right? So they're trying to simplify. I think retail user को सबसे पहले simplification चाहिए. They explain their concept because I think what's important is आप noise को हटाओ side में. You don't imagine a human brain getting 900 data points for a stock every day. It's tough. No human brain can calculate. So Investor AI gives only some information out, not everything. You should know that. They don't exactly tell you why I arrived at this decision because that is the magic recipe. Okay, it's like Coca-Cola telling you how I made Coca-Cola, right? They don't. They tell you have a Coca-Cola, enjoy it. It's a good drink. We charge you if you like it, come back again. So similarly, but there is a research report, which gives you a bit of information around what is the basics and so on and so forth. But it's all, remember, signal algorithm based. This is not a fundamental analysis done by a human being saying, I believe this sector will do well because of GDP, etc. It's a, that's why it's called Investor AI.
See, I think that's a great example. So think of it this way. आप सब लोग गाड़ी चलाते हो. Okay, गाड़ी चलाना सबको आता है. गाड़ी के इंजन के अंदर क्या होता है? Most people have no idea. Most people do not need to know. कोई interest की भी बात नहीं. Current engine कैसे चलता है? So what Paytm Money and Investor AI together have done, they have not only taken the car, they have made it into an automatic car, so it is easier to drive. You don't have to remember how to think. They have made it into self-parking, self-driving also, to some extent. Now, you still have to sit behind the wheel. You can't just go to sleep and say, take me home. वो नहीं चलेगा. But, so आपका थोड़ा judgment चाहिए, but there is a lot of technology that makes life very easy for you.
Absolutely. Very well put.
Very well put, sir. So, okay, in the interest of time, I think we also have no more questions. So, I think the obvious and probably the last question from my end is, what is next for us? मतलब आप Paytm Money और Investor AI, आपके future के plans क्या हैं? आप लोग नए products launch करने का सोच रहे हैं? Just give our users the flavor of what can they expect in the future.
Go ahead, Akshay, please.
Um, there are a lot of things, I mean, I'm सोच रहा हूँ, कितनी चीजें list करूँ. But देखो, this is just one algorithm, the alpha, the 330 thing. There are more coming. I mean, the large cap titans here. There'll be mid cap, there'll be small cap, there'll be other things also. There are lots of things that will come. There are lots of, see, एक बार, लोग समझने लगे कि कैसे machine और buying action को कैसे combine करें, which has now been done. There is so much possibility. I think early on, किसी ने पूछा था कि मेरे portfolio के बारे में बताएंगे नहीं. So it is very easy to connect, saying just give me signals on my portfolio. I'm just so please give me ideas on my portfolio. So you can focus it on people what they are holding today. You can focus it on give me ideas that are similar to what I'm holding, but I'm not holding today. So you can do that also. So there's a whole list of things that we have a joint team between Paytm Money and Investor AI where we are discussing and developing and prioritizing these ideas. But so you should expect to see much more from where this came from.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Akshay. And I can tell you as somebody who's working and pushed by all our retail customers, Varun, what's new? Varun, what's new? I think we work really hard to simplify. And I think the single biggest problem in the stock market in India is tips, right? Because most people are following somebody else, and that somebody else is as knowledgeable as you and me. I don't claim to know stock markets at all. I'm not an expert, right? What I'm an expert in is running a brokerage platform, right? And that's my expertise. There is an expert person who's very good in doing technical analysis. There is another expert very good in fundamental analysis. So different people have different expertise. What I really like in our partnership with Investor AI is they are experts in algorithms. They are great mathematicians. They are great data scientists who understand how to make data work for you, how to make this great technology that we see come into the Indian stock market. That's what I see, right? And Akshay, with his great experience, with his roots, he understands कि यहाँ पे इंडिया में succeed करने के लिए क्या चाहिए. Then my job as Paytm Money is to make what I call your investing trading very, very simple, right? And that's what we've tried to do. So instead of seeing some news from an unverified person on YouTube, on Twitter, on some other site, and then basis that you decide to go into a stock, please come in, trust a machine, experiment with it, make your own judgment. But I think that's the future. The future is what I would call my takeaway for this meeting. It is Iron Man, Shaktiman, Chota Bheem, whatever you want to be. You want to be Mrs. Wonder. There's enough Superman, Superwoman, whatever. I think choose your character. But I think it's the combination of technology, human brain, and I think that's what we are trying to do for our users. Right? We're trying to bring that together. And our job is to make it simple for you, one click, right? And that's my promise. And I think, Manish, you'll see much more action. Today, the first product out is 3x30, right? 3% in 30 days. It's one algorithm only, right? Which does only 800 million calculations every day, right? Imagine we're going to pump in with 5-7 different types. It's going to be very exciting. I personally think I would at least start trying Investor AI products immediately, right? And that's my closing remarks, Manish. But thank you for hosting us.
Thank you so much, Varun, Akshay. And just to, I think, highlight to all our users, Abhi, as an intro offer, I think this AI ka product is free for all for the first 2 weeks. So even if you're not sure, please isko trial mein access kariye, use kariye, do share your feedbacks. And I think Varun and Akshay are together bringing, enabling all of us to become superheroes. So we would love to see some more action coming from this front. And Akshay and Varun, thank you once again. I think this has been a delightful session. And we look forward to seeing some really nice products from Paytm Money and Investor AI in the future. And audience, thank you so much. We wish you a lovely evening.
Thank you, Akshay, for coming.
Thank you so much, Varun and Manish. Really pleasure. Great pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
Manish. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.